Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Christy. Most of you know me. Some of you don't. Welcome to Rewild for Wellness Wednesdays. This is meant to be a really safe space for us to gather together and talk about all things related to health and wellness. Some of you know my mission, you understand what rewilding is. Others of you are new here, new to me, new to the mission. So I'm going to start tonight by explaining a little bit about what this whole thing is, what rewilding wellness is, and then we'll kind of dive in to tonight's topic, which is going to be kind of like my 3 key reminders of health and wellness, three key things to focus on every single day for overall health and wellness. So let me talk a little bit about, first of all, kind of the format of this. Every week is going to be a different topic. I kind of pick them randomly. Sometimes I throw in hey, you guys pick the topic. We're going to get on and discuss whatever you guys come up with, which I love to do, and it's fun. And I really would love for these to be live. I know some of you are going to be watching this on a recording, but the live is just a really nice way for us to be in community and have conscious conversation, because we need more of that. We need more opportunities to engage in these conversations that we're not able to have in a lot of places in our lives, or with a lot of people in our lives. And now more than ever, we really need each other. We really need community. So that old adage of it takes a village is really true. It takes a village not just to raise our children, but to raise us as well. And those of us who are parents, if we're not raising ourselves well, we can't raise our kids. So it's really important. So this is meant to be a safe gathering. Ask your questions, ask anything. I will always invite you at the end to reach out to me after this is over with any questions that you have, or, anything at all. I'm always available and always happy to help. So I started to do this about 2 years ago as a way for people to access this information in a way that was easily accessible. Not everybody can work with me privately, or even in my classes or my groups. Not everybody is able to attend a wellness event or a retreat. So I wanted to be able to create a safe space that everybody could access, regardless of finances or geography. And some of you know I have a really love-hate relationship with virtual venues. I love to be in person. I'm a hugger, I'm a toucher, I'm a feeler. But I also realize I have to kind of meet people where they're at. So that's how this idea was born 2 years ago. So it's been one of my favorite offerings. I took a brief hiatus to finish working on my books, and they're just about ready, which is really exciting. Oh, here's Christy. Okay. So I thought it was time to get back to this, and so many of you have been asking. So that's what this is all about, rewilding wellness. So this concept of rewilding, I want to talk for a minute about what that means, especially for those of you who are new to me and new to this mission. So rewilding wellness is all about returning to our roots, returning to the essence of what it means to be here in this life, in this human form. So it is a releasing of what I call the domestication, all of the conditioning that has layered on us like armor through the years, from everything from trauma to just being in the world and being raised by people, parents, teachers, friends. So we've all been domesticated and conditioned and programmed. And rewilding is a stripping away of that. It's removing all that isn't us, isn't our true self, so that we can reclaim the essence of who we are as passionate, purposeful, creative, courageous, potent self-healing beings. So I talk a lot about this word sovereignty, reclaiming our sovereignty. That's what this is about. Sovereignty is our essential freedom to be who we came here to be in this life. So in plain English, it's a stripping away of all that is in us to reclaim all that we inherently are. So, there's so much out there in the health and wellness industry and kind of this spiritual realm, and so many people talking about health, talking about wellness, talking about spirituality, talking about being our best selves, talking about becoming more joyful and becoming more passionate and finding, your purpose. And the reality is that none of those things are necessary to do, because at our core, we already have everything we need. We already are who we came here to be. All we have to do is remove what's in the way of it. So the way that I teach this work, what rewilding and this mission is all about, is it's a remembering of who we truly are. It's a reclamation of the essence that got buried under all of the programming, so that we can experience ourselves in the way that we came here to be. We can experience our best selves. So that's what this whole mission is about. And I teach it and I practice it in a way that is very sort of grounded and earth-based. And I'm going to jump into this more in a few minutes, but again, there's a lot out there now, a lot of these spiritualists and spiritual practices, and everybody wants to ascend, and everybody wants to be enlightened, and everybody wants to be awakened. It's all the buzzwords that we see, okay? And if we're not careful, we can get pulled out into all of these, I'm going to astral project, and I'm going to go into all these other realms, and I'm going to talk to the kangaroos, and all of that is wonderful if that's what works for you. But we are here in human form, and we have to learn how to live this everyday life when the shit hits the fan, right? Off the yoga mat, out of the meditation rooms, out of the ashrams. We have to be able to walk our everyday existences in a way that is fully integrated in mind, body, and spirit, in a way that is grounded, right? In a way that is neutral and non-reactive, in a way that makes space for us to be our true selves right here, right now, in this grounded existence. So a lot of the practices that I teach are very focused on being embodied, being here right now. It's not drifting off into other places. It's how do we land here with both feet so we can show up in this life, right? We can show up the way that we came to show up in this human form. We are energy beings, we are light beings. That is true. But we have taken this human shape, and we have to learn to live in that human shape healthfully. So before I go on and kind of dive in a little bit more and talk about these 3 most important practices that we can do every day, I would like, for those of you who are comfortable, if you can, oh, Antoinette says putting her daughter to bed. Okay. If you can, put in the chat 2 things. One is just a quick word or 2 about what health and wellness means to you. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is write down if there's something you're showing up, some health and wellness problem that you have. Maybe you're dealing with anxiety. Maybe you're dealing with an autoimmune issue. Maybe you're dealing with parenting struggles. Whatever it is for you, anything you feel comfortable sharing, just pop it in the chat quickly. Just a couple of words. Give you guys one more minute to jot a few things down. You can also, there's also a way, if you don't want to do it on the group chat, there's a way to just send it to me. So I see a couple of you have done that. Okay. Okay, see you typing. I'm going to give you one more minute. Okay, so motherhood. Okay. All right, I'm just going to start just reading out a couple of buzzwords. Okay, healing old wounds so they don't control you. Being fully present, grounded, and clear through all the ups and downs and the day-to-day. Okay. Health is wealth. Health is being one with your gut instincts. Health is not feeling pain. Mm, yeah. Health to me is not living overwhelmed day in and day out. Yeah. Yeah. And then what some of you are showing up with: motherhood, exhaustion, guilt, leading to fatigue and burnout. I feel you, sister. Autoimmune issues, migraines, anxiety. Yeah. Stress, overwhelm, living overwhelmed every day. Okay. So whether you wrote it or not, I think we all can agree, right? That, look, we're all showing up here with something. We're all here because we're interested in being healthy and well, right? We're all here because that's important to us. We want to up level. One of you said, talking about like up leveling, your health and wellness, getting your self-care and getting your health and wellness to the next level. So, we have to understand what that means. So health, very often when I ask this question a lot to people in classes and groups, retreats, one-on-one with people. And a lot of times, inevitably, someone will say, being healthy is the absence of something, absence of wounds, or the absence of being overwhelmed, or the absence of some kind of symptom or illness. But the reality is that health and wellness isn't necessarily about that. Being healthy is about being in a state of wholeness, right? It's being in a state of wholeness. It's not about perfection. It's not about being in control. It's not about never being triggered. It's not about never feeling the weight of motherhood, let's say, or the weight of a world like this that's really heavy right now. It's not about any of that. It's all about a return. And this is what rewilding is all about. Rewilding is about returning to our roots, to our natural rhythms, and to the essence, the soul of who we are, so that we can be in this state of wholeness. And when we talk about being whole, it's about mind, body, and spirit. Okay. Now, some of you have heard this before. Some of you teach this yourselves, right? Mind, body, spirit. But again, when we think about, well, what does that mean in the day to day? Oh, I want to be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. Yeah, I want to, all these things. What does that really look like in the day to day? That's what I want to talk a little bit about tonight, is what does it look like in the day to day to prioritize health in mind, body, and spirit, and the recognition that those three have to be working together all the time, right? So, I was just saying to someone today, you could go to the gym 1,000,000 hours a day. You can take all the supplements. You can be in the best physical shape of your life. You can attend every yoga class. You can meditate 6 hours a day. You can do all of these things. But if mind, body, spirit not working together, and it's not done in this grounded way, right? You know how many people come in, and this was me for a long time. They're like, well, I can go to yoga class and I have an amazing yoga class. I can meditate and I have an amazing meditation session. I can go for walks and I can go on a retreat and I can go do all these things, but I come home and lose my shit on my kids. Right? And they're like, I don't understand. Right? I don't understand. How is it that I am totally blissed out on my yoga mat, right, Maria? I feel like you probably hear this too, right? As a yoga teacher, I am in the state of bliss. I found God. And then you go home and you basically, bitch out your kids or your husband or your whoever, right? And so it's like, what happens, right? So again, when we talk about this idea of wholeness, it's like we want to embody this state of health and wellness all the time. Look, I'm not going to say this doesn't mean you're never going to lose your shit on your kids or you're never going to have a moment of overwhelm. But for the most part, you want to be who you truly are in every situation that you're in your life across the board, right? For so many years, my husband said to me, Christy, you're like two different people. You're one person at home and you're one person outside of the house. And for a long time, I didn't understand what he meant. No, I'm not, with my attitude. I don't know what you're talking about. You're the one with the problem. I'm from the Bronx, those of you who know. So I pull the attitude, the whole thing. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. And so I had to get honest with myself about that. And so when I talk about rewilding as being sort of this grounded earth-based medicine, right? Not the abstract, not the ascended, like right here in the dense living terrain of this earth. I am talking about kind of like getting honest with the foundation that you're building your life on. Right? By the way, and some of you know this, I don't, these weekly, actually pretty much everything I do, it's not scripted. I have no outline. I have no nothing. I just kind of like go with what is coming through. So I'm not saying things in any particular order, really. And, feel free to write things down. Feel free to ask me to repeat anything. And you're not, going to remember every single thing I say, but notice what really resonates. Notice the words that really resonate when I say them. So this earth-based approach is really about getting honest with yourself. I had to get honest with myself and really look and say, okay, what is this foundation that I'm building my life on? Because it's not okay that I am like an animal when I'm home. And I'm this blissed out Zen goddess in the world. I'm living a lie, right? Doesn't matter how many hours I put in on the mat or on the cushion or on the retreats, none of that matters. So this is an invitation to start to get honest, to really look at what you're built on. That's a question I start every morning with. One of the questions I have a morning ritual or sadhana practice every single morning. And one of the things that I ask myself is how am I going to reinforce this life that I'm building today? What am I built on? Right? What am I built on? And is this a foundation that carries me across the board in all parts of my life? Or not? Where am I unhinging? Where am I struggling? Is it at home with my kids? Is it with my husband? Is it, somewhere? Is it at work? Where is it? It's really an important question to ask. So when we talk about wellness and we talk about health, rewilding wellness is about honoring the fact that we are self-healers. We all have an innate capacity to heal ourselves, and we don't have to really strive for it. In fact, some of you who are on this call, you work with me privately, I say, stop doing so many things. You don't have to take 10 more classes. You don't have to go get a certification in something. You don't have to go on all the retreats, because it's not from a place of striving. It's from a place of sovereignty, reconnecting with your freedom, reconnecting with your choice. And a lot of times it's addition by subtraction. Let go, do less, do less. Just be present more, be more, do less. So rewilding is also about coming back to the earth of your body, the true nitty gritty, the essence of who you are. right? Instead of being in the sky, we come to the sky of our mind. Instead of, being always in a fire ceremony, just where's the fire of your own heart and your spirit, right? Many people say to me, well, I can't do this work because I don't have access to a drum circle. I don't have access to a fire ceremony, right? Because again, there's a lot of stuff out there about what health and wellness looks like, about what spirituality looks like, about heart-based work and what that looks like. And we forget about the earth right underneath our feet. That's where we need to look first, right? Going to the waters. Well, I can't go to the ocean. Well, I can't do a cleansing ceremony. No, but your emotional truth, those are the waters that flow through you. Come back to you, right? We're not here to be managed. We're not here to follow regimens. So instead of being managed, we're here to be remembered. Instead of following regimens, we're here to reclaim. That's what health and wellness is about. It's really very simple. It's much more simple than we make it out to be. And that a lot of what we see out there makes it out to be. So when we talk about, a few of you mentioned being overwhelmed, part of why we're overwhelmed is that the help that's put out there is very overwhelming. Oh, I have to go do all these things to be healthy and well. Oh, I have to go and see all these practitioners. I have to pay all this money. I have to take all these pills. No, you do not. You do not. And that's no judgment on anybody who does. We all do what we need to do, but it's much simpler than that. So I want to talk about this idea of mind, body, spirit. Okay? Mind, body, spirit. We know this conceptually. Many of you who I know on here, I know those of you I don't know, but many of you who I know, you've heard of this concept, mind, body, spirit. Again, you use these words. We talk about it flippantly. What does it really mean? So these three things together work in this way. We are triune beings, and they work together in order to keep us healthy and well. So let's talk about the mind. Anybody want to say anything about what they think it means to be healthy in your mind? You don't even have to type it. You can just speak it if you want. If anybody wants to say anything, what does it mean to be healthy in our mind? Secure in your decisions. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything about the mind? Healthy in mind. So healthy in mind, not spiraling or going into the harsh extremes. Yeah. Yeah. Not being run by ego. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything? So many people come to me, and it's funny. I must hear the same story, like, I don't know, 10 times a week easily. Many people come and say, I tried meditation because I'm always in my mind. And people taught me that if I use meditation, I will get rid of all my thoughts and I'll never have a problem with my mind again. And I'll just be in my heart and I won't have to think about my mind ever again. I won't have to think of any thoughts ever again. And I have to burst their bubble and say, I'm sorry, but that's actually not how it works, right? So, oh wait, one of you just put something else, not spiraling. Emotionally grounded, able to experience the highs and lows, allowing them to flow. Yeah, experience them while being ready to let go. Yes, unrealistic expectations of meditation. It's so true. Well, and it's not their faults, right? Because again, there's so much propaganda out there about what it is. And we see these images of levitating Buddhas, right? And we're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to look like. I don't look like that when I meditate. And I've been meditating for 30 years. I don't look like that. So yeah, there's so much out there. And again, that's why I really teach this very practically. Like, what does it look like for a real fumbling, stumbling human to be healthy in their mind? So healthy in the mind isn't about being free from every thought. It's not about letting go of fear completely and not having fear ever. That's completely unrealistic. So it's about having an endless awareness, right? Understanding that we are not our thoughts. We're aware of our thoughts, right? We are pure awareness. That's all we are, right? So we hear those thoughts in our head, and this will be, I don't want to dive too much into each one tonight. This is kind of meant to be, you know, a little bit of an overview of this, but in future future events like these, we'll be diving in specifically to mind practices, body practices, spirit practices. But it's all about this awareness of these thoughts, that we are not our thoughts. Can we create spaciousness to allow the thoughts to be there without letting them hook us in and pull us in and take us, right? Knowing that we have this mental landscape, can we just watch it with curiosity instead of giving into it, instead of feeding it? Can we understand that the thoughts come from, can we understand that these thoughts come from subconscious programming, right? They don't come from us. They come from the wounds. One of you mentioned wounds, right? They come from our past. They come from our traumas. They come from the way in which we've been taught. It's not us. So can we understand that, right? And can we get curious about our thoughts instead of judging them? So that's a little bit of what it means to be healthy and well in our minds. So let's talk about the body, right? Being healthy in the body. It's not about having six-pack abs. It's not about wearing a size 2. It's not about any of that. Being healthy in the body is about being so connected and attuned to your natural rhythms and your natural cycles and your body's wisdom. By the way, as you're hearing me say this, think to yourself, am I really doing this? You might be like, yeah, I know this, I know this, I know this. You know this. Are you living it? Are you embodying it? Right? Are you embodying it every day across the different landscapes of your life? That's what I want you to be thinking about as you're hearing me say this. Right? Do I honor my body's signals? Do I honor my body's cycles? You know, we're all women on this call. Do we honor our menstrual cycles? Do we change the way we eat, the way we exercise, the way we work when we're menstruating versus ovulating? Right? We have to get honest. Because, oh yeah, I know this. I know I'm supposed to slow down while I'm menstruating, while we're running, you know? Doesn't matter what you know up here. It has to be an embodied practice consistently, right? Do we treat our bodies with loving kindness and nourishment? Or do we punish it? Do we berate it? Oh, I had a donut over the weekend, so I can't eat anything tomorrow. I have to fast because, oh my God, I had sugar. You know, that's punishment. That's punishment. So we have to be honest. Where are we listening to our bodies? Do we give our bodies permission? I was talking to a young girl earlier today, and I had the full body chills when she was talking to me because it reminded me so much of me. So she is home from college, and she's boarding at college, but her college is fairly close to home. She lives in New York. And she was telling me today that she never allowed herself to go to the bathroom while at school. Yeah. Now, I had flashbacks when she said this because when I was in elementary school, I went to Catholic school, when I was in elementary school, I wouldn't pee all day. I was afraid to go to the bathroom. And it was like a thing. And some of it was the boys would sneak into the girls' bathroom, and there was all this, right? I didn't want to be heard. It's like I didn't want anyone to know I ever had to pee. It was so silly, seemingly so silly. So this woman was saying that she basically spent a year of college. She would drive home 2 hours to go to the bathroom because she wouldn't go to the bathroom at school. because of whatever fears, whatever stories that she had created in her mind about it. Now, is she listening to her body when her body says, I have to pee? No, she's not, right? She's not honoring what her body is asking for. You know, and it reminded me of a story of another woman I work with who she works in this really high-powered financial firm. And she's like, you know, a CTO or something, a CFO, excuse me. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't have time to go to the bathroom all day. I don't eat, I don't go to the bathroom, I don't do any of these things. She's not listening to what her body needs and wants, right? Or how many times do we say, oh, I need to go to the gym today because I got to get another day in, even though your body is sore and aching and demanding rest. So again, we know up here, oh yeah, I have to honor my body. Are you doing that? Are you doing that in the day-to-day, listening to its signals and its cycles and its wisdom? Spirit. What does it mean to be healthy and well in spirit? And again, I'm talking about before sort of this grounded spirituality, right? This is not about, let me go into travel into other realms. I'm not judging anybody or anything or any approach. But this grounded spirituality is like, can I be here in this world, in this life, with all the pain that's around us, right? All the heartache that's around us, all of the noise and the chaos. And can I stay and really feel all of it? Or am I trying to bypass it and avoid it? You know, am I trying to, oh, let me sage it away, right? Oh, let me go meditate it away. Let me go run on a vacation away. And I feel great when I do that. Well, that's not spirituality. That's all bypass, right? Am I living with intention across the board, right? Again, you could set really beautiful intentions on a yoga mat. You can set really beautiful intentions while at the ashram. It's so easy to do that. Can you set an intention when you wake up in the morning and you go down to the kitchen and you have to make breakfast for your family? Can you live with intention and set good intentions when your kids are screaming and running around? You know? Can you live with reverence? It's easy to be reverent when you're on a yoga mat or you're in the ashram. Can you honor your home with reverence? The people in your life with reverence? Driving in your car, can you live reverently? Again, be asking yourselves these questions. Are you listening to your intuition? One of you mentioned that before about health and wellness being this connection with your intuition. Are you led by your inner compass, or are you always second guessing yourself? I don't know. Should I? What should I do? Let me go do this. Let me go do that. You know, even really beautiful practices. For example, meditation. For example, shamanic journeying. These are beautiful practices, okay? But we should not have to go journey somewhere to get an answer to something. It's already in us. So this grounded spirituality is like, am I consulting my inner oracle? Or am I always looking to the deck of cards? Am I always looking to somebody else? Am I always trying to outsource what I know? Right? Again, be honest about this. Do I remember who I am? Do I honor my divinity all the time? Do I see myself as a fractal of light connected to the divine all the time? We have to be honest with ourselves. By the way, if you're answering these questions saying, no, 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 it's okay. This isn't about shame. This isn't about judgment, okay? This is, again, about really understanding that health and wellness isn't just the lies they sold you about. You got to take all these pills. You got to take supplements, go to all these doctors, do all these things. It's about the day-to-day. How do I show up in my life? Right here, right now, with all the shit going on around me? How do I show up tending to mind, body, and spirit. How do I honor my thoughts? How do I deal with my thoughts? How do I deal with my body and honor its signals and its cycles and its wisdom? How do I tend to my emotions? How do I stay here and wait and get quiet and listen for the answers to appear? Or am I running to the cards, to the ashram, to the practice? Can I just be with myself? So it's about getting honest, about where you're at, where we struggle the most, where the triggers are, right? That triggers are just little pokes that tell us, hey, there's a wound inside that you need to tend to, right? It's an inside job. So there's like two other things I want to say, but I want to stop and give you guys a chance to talk. And again, you can unmute yourself, you can speak, you don't have to just write it in the chat, or you can, whatever that, whatever feels comfortable. Any questions or concerns or any of this resonating, or any of it not resonating? Kelly says it resonates. Again, you can send to me privately also if you don't want to put anything in the public chat. So remember, right? Some of this is not new, but it's now looking at it through the lenses of honesty and saying, it all resonates, and saying, how am I building my foundation? What am I built on? Am I honoring my body, spirit every moment of every day? Every moment of every day is an opportunity to be healthy and well. Health and wellness isn't only in the gym. Health and wellness doesn't only come from the bottles and the supplements. Health and wellness doesn't only come on the yoga mats and at the ashrams and the retreats and all of these things. It's the day to day, right? And we really have to remember that. Resonates. Yeah. So I want to mention, and I think I may go into this more next week, and in 2 weeks, I'm actually going to have a guest. I forgot to mention that earlier. Some of these weeks, I'm going to have different guests on with me talking about different topics, but we're going to be diving into this big topic of detoxification. And that's another big aspect of what rewilding is all about. It's about detoxifying. It's removing whatever is in the way. As I said before, removing what's ever in the way of us being our true selves and being in that state of wholeness. So we're always going to detoxify, remove the armor, remove any stagnancy. So detoxing is really important. It's an important aspect of this work. And again, we hear that word pop up and like, oh, I need to do a cleanse, or, I have MTHFR and I need to take all these pills for it and all these things. But in everyday moments of our everyday lives, there are opportunities to remove the debris that gets in the way. Okay, so think about this mentally, right? In the mind. What are we removing when we talk about detoxifying? We can't actually really remove our thoughts, right? But we can remove the reactions that we have to them, right? We can change the way that we relate to them by removing the patterns, the way that we used to listen to them and let them, take hold of us. We can do what I call mental fasting. And I'm going to be diving into this again in future weeks, but it's just coming through to me now to say it now. So I'm going with it. Mental fasting, I call it, which is, taking breaks from all that is coming at us, social media, news, music, even television, all the things that we're exposed to that creates noise and creates distraction. And all it does is it feeds our mind. Right? It feeds our minds. It contributes to the noise that's already there. So we have to do sort of this like mental fasting, less input so we can listen more. We can be silent more. And again, we don't have to go away on a retreat to do that. So think about where in your everyday life, yes, with the screaming kids, yes, with traveling, yes, with working, all the things that have to be done. Where can you carve out space for quiet? Something as simple as driving in your car with no music on, right? Like this doesn't have to be hard. This doesn't have to be rocket science, right? You know, again, you don't have to stow away to an ashram to have peace. You create the peace. So when we talk about that mental detoxification, bringing in that silence, bodily detoxification, right? Okay, we can talk about things like drinking clean water, right? And eating live, living, healthy, organic foods. You know, we can talk about letting go of the processed foods that contaminate us. We can talk about grounding and being in the earth with our bare feet, right? So that we're absorbing the electrons or absorbing all of the ions. If we're walking on the beach and we're getting the splashing of the water, we can absorb all the negative ions, right? We can do all of those things, but just in the everyday. You can't go to a beach? No problem. Run some water. You know, washing dishes can become a purification practice. Doesn't have to be complicated. So we can do, you know, people talk about nervous system regulation and breath work, and I teach all of these things. Most of you know that I do. But make it simple. Stand in your kitchen and hum while you're washing the dishes. Humming releases the vagus nerve. A lot of you have done vocal work with me. You know, humming. You don't have to be chanting Om in an ashram. It doesn't have to be like that. Just hum. Find your voice. Release the vagus nerve that way. You know, breathing normally and naturally. Maria, I always think of you when I say this. Like, ditch the formal breathing and just breathe. I'm shouting
I don't
Maria
know
out.
how to do that.
I know. I'm totally shouting Maria out as the
It's okay.
yoga
No,
teacher.
Ujjayi breath has become my normal breath,
I'm like,
unfortunately.
ditch the Ujjayi breath, girl. Just freaking
I can't
breathe.
do it. I can't do it.
So, right, it's like, okay, just bring your hand to your chest and bring your hand to your belly and breathe normally. Find your breath, however it is right now, and just watch it. It's as simple as that, right? That is detoxifying. Our lungs are actually one of our body's largest organs of detoxification. Everybody thinks it's the liver only or the kidneys, and we forget that your lungs are a massive way that we detox. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. And again, you could do that washing the dishes. You could do that folding laundry. You could do that while driving in your car. I was doing this thing once where when I was really, this was years ago, when I was really trying to breathe from my belly, because I would start to realize how shallow my breathing was. I was always up here, like hyperventilating, right? And those of us who live in survival mode, right? And we're always just go, go, go. Our breath is always up here. The lungs are not getting full expansion and contraction. We don't need fancy breathing for that either. We just need to breathe from consciously with the intention of opening up our lungs, opening up the diaphragm. So years ago, when I was trying to learn how to do this, one of my teachers said to me, you know, you got to fill the belly, fill the belly. And some of you work with me, you know, I've said that, let the belly rise as you inhale, let the belly fall as you exhale. So I was driving in my car. I'm pretty short, those of you who know me, I sit pretty close to the steering wheel, and I would make it so that I knew I was filling my belly when my belly touched the steering wheel. So that became my thing. As I'm driving, I got to get my belly to touch the steering wheel. There was my breath work practice, right? There was those moments of detoxifying. There was those moments of tuning into my body right in the car. Nothing fancy, right? Nothing fancy. So, you know, resting. Oh, I know I need to rest. Are we actually resting? Are we actually taking those moments to pause, to just be, to not do anything? It could be 5 minutes. Could we just do that? Right? Again, we know we need to do it here. Are we actually doing it? in the day-to-day. We have to get honest. Detoxifying spiritually, what does that look like? So clearing out, the word that is coming to me is like all the debris, all the residue that creates stagnation in our energetic beings, right? Such that the currents of energy can't flow freely through us, right? There are so many bioenergetic practices, bioquantum practices that I teach and I write about and all these things. Let's make it real. You want to know a great way to clear the spiritual debris that's in the way of you connecting with your inner compass? Draw, color. Really, it's that simple. Take out a piece of paper and draw. Get a coloring book and color. Paint. We're not talking Picasso here, just paint. Right? Sing, write, speak, dance around your kitchen. Again, we don't need the fancy practices. The fancy practices are wonderful, don't get me wrong. But for the day-to-day shit, make it simple. Because every day, if you're not doing these three things, if you're not tuning into body, mind, and spirit in every moment that you're in, you're not contributing to health and wellness, you're contributing to sickness. I didn't make that up. It's the reality, right? We're contributing to dis-ease when we're not in a state of ease in mind, body, and spirit. So let's make it practical. Let's not make it, oh, well, when I go on this retreat next summer, I'm going to do all these things. No. Let's make it about today, tonight, when the kids are waking up and not going to bed, when you got 5 more loads of laundry to do, when you're trying to plan a class for the next day, when you're trying to figure out when your next job is going to be. Right in the midst of that, let's do these practices, these everyday things. This is the best pathway to being healthy and well. These are the best things that we can do. It's not about perfection. It's not about all the latest and greatest biohacks. Oh my God, if I get one more person contact me. Oh, I want to sell you my latest biohacking product. You can use it with all your clients and they'll be healed in 16 seconds. I cannot stand in front of a light machine like this for 5 hours a day. That's all well and good. But it's how you show up in the everyday moments that count. That's what the pathway to true health and wellness is about, right? Doing these little things, they seem so little. This is how we shift consciousness. This is how we expand awareness. This is how we can clear our auric fields, our biofields, the energy fields around us. Some of you were in my energy medicine class, right? We talk about the biofields and clearing all of those fields around us. It starts with simple choices that we make every single day. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it any more overwhelming than that. Yes, we're trying to release patterns of trauma. Yes, we're trying to heal old wounds. That doesn't mean that we have to do all these fancy things. It starts with choosing joy, choosing courage right here, right now, taking action when our mind tells us not to, going to the places that scare us, right? Singing while doing the dishes instead of complaining, making the choice to do it. Right? Honoring how you feel. I'm angry. I'm upset. Speaking it, but not staying stuck in it, moving it in the day-to-day. Questions, comments, how is this landing? Speak to me, people. And again, you can unmute and speak if you would like.
So I feel like there's a lot that, because I've worked with you for a while, And it's this session has just been a reminder of a lot of the things that, you know, the work that we've done in the past. I feel like overall I'm doing well with a lot of it. And then there's certain things that I still struggle with, which is speaking my truth in the moment
Mm,
instead of letting it sit
yeah,
and then turn into resentment. That's a big one for me because speaking my truth for most of my life didn't feel safe.
yeah.
So that's a huge one, but I feel like with a lot of the other things, I am working on them regularly. Being present, being aware, um, listening to my body, especially now as I'm getting older with my cycles, especially. Um, and I had a big reminder of that in my with my last period because we had planned this big family event, and I said, "Well, I can't miss it." And I forced myself to do everything I had to do to be there, and I felt horrible physically
Mm,
and emotionally.
yeah,
So that's still something I'm working on, but overall, I feel like this has just been such a really powerful reminder of all those little day-to-day things, being in silence in the car, not taking my phone on a walk,
yeah,
listening to my body when it needs to rest.
yeah.
When I get triggered, sitting with it and like, why am I triggered right now? What's going on? Like asking myself, instead of being totally frustrated and lost in the moment, like actually sitting with the trigger and saying, okay, what's happening right now, Maria? Like, why are you feeling this? And kind of just talking to myself about it, instead of losing myself
Yeah,
in it.
yeah,
Um, so, I just feel like this has been really important. Just a reminder that I'm on a good track with everything that I've learned from you, and still that there's things to be worked on.
yeah, yeah. Well, because
Yeah.
it's not about perfection. There's
Right.
always things, right? There's always
Yes.
things to work on. And
Yeah.
saying, okay, yeah, I'm doing good in this part of my life. And in this part, I'm gonna work. But again, it's not even I'm doing better or worse. It's like, can I just allow myself
Mhm.
to show up however I am and honor it? Whatever it
Yes.
is, right? Even the
Yes.
moments when we lose our shit and then we're like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to do that. Like, oh, right? You know, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. Doesn't mean we don't try, but it's okay, right? We're all human. We're all going to, I always say, like, we're never going to get to a point where you get the certificate of mastery that says, like, I wish, like, I'm still waiting for it. It doesn't come, you know,
Yeah.
because there is no mastery,
Mhm.
and I mean, you guys, I think most of you on here, you follow me on Facebook, you see, I share very openly and honestly my stories. I post at least every day a story or a blog of something happening in my life. And I do that for a reason because I don't claim to sit here. Yes. Do I have all the credentials? Have I studied for a bajillion years? Have I practiced this for a bajillion years? Yes. None of that actually matters. I'm a stumbling, fumbling human just like everybody else, you know? And I have my moments where I'm triggered too. I wrote about very vulnerably and openly just this week alone about a few things that have happened that I had to really recognize were triggering. And I had to really confront a lot of sadness. And I had to, let go of a relationship in my life. There's so many things. So, and I speak about like, here's what was hard for me. Here's what worked well. Here's what didn't. Here's what I'm working on. Because we all need that permission slip to be human, right? And that's why I talk about this in this very grounded way of, this isn't like, oh, I'm always love and light and I'm always living in these other realms. No, we have to be right here, right now, all the time, no matter what's going on in our lives. And we have to know that sometimes we're going to be triggered. It's just how it is. Sometimes we're going to be more reactive than others. Sometimes we're going to have a great week and we're going to say, "I'm on top of my game." And then the next week it's like, holy shit, everything is falling apart. And we know that this isn't linear. We know this is all cyclical also. But what does that mean to live it, right? Again, we know it here. What does it mean to live in a way in which we are actually cyclical beings, and that our journey, health, wellness, love, all of it, it's all cyclical. It's never going to be like, okay, this part's mastered. Now let me move here. Okay, I got that. Now let me go here. Doesn't work that way, right? So yeah, no, and I appreciate you sharing all of that, Maria, because these are reminders, right? So no matter how many years I have been practicing this, teaching it, everything I teach, I have to practice. That's what inspired me to do this topic tonight. Like, okay, let me focus, let me bring it back to basics, right? So that sort of beginners who are just getting used to this hear this, but doesn't matter how long you've been practicing and doing the work. We need the reminders all the time. All the time. Bring it back to basics. Body, mind, spirit, every moment of the day in this very grounded way. Antoinette, really helpful. Thank you. My question would be, hold on. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to do this without my glasses and I'm wondering, I'm squinting. Okay, my question will be that often I'll set intentions or start the day with the right mindset or energy level. And maybe even midday, I'll remind myself again, woohoo. Then out of nowhere, for a million reasons, it'll all come crashing down. I'm wondering if there's anything practical, for example, maybe setting a reminder every hour or journaling throughout the day to hold myself accountable in a meaningful or effective way. Or is this just adding and making things more exhausted? Yeah. I also don't take any classes or meditations. It's strictly parenting right now in this phase of my life. So I'm starting literally from the ground. Antoinette, I would challenge you on that. I don't think you're starting from the ground. I think you should give yourself a little more credit for that. And I know you, so I can say that. I want you to give yourself some credit because you're doing amazing and you're not just starting from the ground. But yeah, really good question. So, and I think all of us can relate to that. Yeah, Kelly's saying, oh, that resonates. Yeah, right. So yeah, we start off, today is going to be a great day. I'm in a great mood. I'm going to be wonderful. I'm going to sing to my children all day. I'm going to be so happy, right? And then all hell breaks loose. Okay. So that's a couple of things I want to say about that. Every time we have an emotional reaction to something, it's information. Okay, it's information. It's letting us know something, letting us know that we're reacting to something. It's a reaction. Okay. And we have to be really careful because sometimes we think, oh, I'm having a great day. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And it's really just a mask for a lot of stuff that's going on. Because, I would say, all right, when you start the day, oh, I'm having a great day. I feel happy. I'm in a good mood, right? Is that what you mean by great day? Again, this is a question for everybody, right? What does it mean to wake up in the morning and say, I feel good. Today's going to be a great day. What does that expectation mean? Because you're already setting yourself up with an expectation. Expectation is not the same as intention. So I want to start with that, right? Because if you're saying, I have an intention that I'm going to have a great day today, that's not an intention, that's an expectation. Okay, I'm going to explain what the difference is in a minute. But I want you to just hear this for a minute. And we all do this. I know we all do this. I do this too. I do this too. We set this expectation. I'm going to have a great day. And we think we have a whole definition of what that means. I'm not going to yell at my kids. I'm going to cook an amazing dinner. All the laundry is going to get done. I'm going to have a great day at work. I'm going to do, or whatever your story is, right? And we have this list of what great day really means. That is all expectation. That is all expectation. Okay? That is why it falls apart. Because we attach ourselves to that expectation. And so all of a sudden, when it starts to not look that way, that it's going that way, we're like, oh my God, what's happening? This is falling apart. This is all falling apart. Maybe it's not falling apart. Maybe it's all falling together, but it doesn't match the image that you started your morning with. So now you're telling yourself a new narrative that says, this is all gone to shit. It's all falling apart. I can't even do this right. I'm failing. And now that sets off this spiral of thoughts in your head, which creates all of this emotional reactivity. And so, yeah, then it feels like everything completely fell apart. So we have to be careful that we're really setting intentions and not setting expectations. If you're setting expectations, they're always going to fall apart. They're always going to fall apart. Right? Setting an intention, for instance, of, you know, trying to think of an example. Waking up in the morning and setting an intention of, you know I am divine. I remember my divinity. Like setting the intention of this is who and how I am right now. Not it's going to be a great day. I'm going to be calm today. I'm going to do this today. Those are setting expectations. Okay. So that's always going to get us in trouble. It's always going to fall apart because nothing is ever going to go the way that we play it out. And I don't want to hear about manifesting a great day. That's all a lot of bullshit, right? Be in the present moment. Set the intention. Okay, I am divine. I'm going to honor myself today, right? I am honoring myself right here, right now. Not I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to be calm. I'm not going to yell at my kids today. I'm going to do all these things. Those are expectations. Is that making sense, Antoinette, so far? That's kind of the first part that I wanted to say. By the way, I think does that resonate? Mind blowing? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And again, Antoinette, we all do this. I don't think there's anyone on this call tonight that would say, oh, I never do that. I never set expectations. We all do. We all do. We all do. We have to be careful. And it's a fine line. There's a fine line. There's a fine line, between expectations and intention. But we have to be really careful. So now in the moment, I'm going to go back to your message when you say, everything starts to come crashing down seemingly out of nowhere. Yeah, that's because all day you were holding on tight, trying to keep it all together so that your expectation could come to fruition. So what that means is when we set an expectation, your system naturally goes into a state of contraction because it needs to be in control. It needs to do the thing that you're saying you need to have happen. So now you're in contraction. You're not in flow. You're not in flow. One of you commented earlier that health is about being in a state of flow. Indeed. Being in a state of flow does not mean we're smiling all the time and we're happy all the time and that nothing is falling apart. Being in flow means you're allowing whatever is happening to move through you and you're not resisting it. You're not trying to will it away. You're not beating yourself up for having it. You're allowing it all to be there. When the shit hits the fan, when the kids are screaming, when you're feeling overwhelmed, be overwhelmed. But if you're trying to, well, I can't be overwhelmed because I said this was going to be a great day. Now you're white knuckling your day. And guess what? At some point, you're going to explode. Resonating? I think from people are saying yes, right? Like, listen, I've been there. Like yesterday. Literally my life. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So that's not being in a state of bliss. That's not being, again, in flow. That's not being, oh, look at me. I'm staying so calm. I remember one of my teachers, I think I wrote about this in my first book. I remember showing up to a session with one of my teachers. This was years ago. And I was telling him, he's like, okay, how was your week? And I'm like, great. I'm like, I was so calm. I was so relaxed all week. I was so happy. I was so this, I was so that. And he's like, oh, you're so in denial. I'm like, what? No, I'm not in denial. And it was again, kind of like using your words, Anton, it was mind blowing because he helped me realize that so much of what I thought was, oh, look, I'm evolving. I'm not reacting to things. All I was doing was burying shit and hoping it would go away just to have a great day, just to show everybody, look, I'm great. I'm smiling. Everything's great. Right? Christy, gotta go. Christy, I'm so glad you were on. Have a great night. Hope it was helpful, love. So, we have to recognize where, again, when we're so attached to those expectations of what it means to be great, what it means to have a good day, what it means to be, oh, I want to just be calm. Our goal shouldn't be to be calm. It should be to be regulated so we can experience the full range of what we're feeling without reacting to it, without falling apart when the shit hits the fan, without trying to pretend we don't feel a certain way. Right? So the expectations, hard to find the balance between burying and exploding. It most certainly is. Right? It most certainly is. Here's the thing. So hang on, I just want to see who is in the private room still. Okay. So a lot of you on here, you've worked with me. A couple of you have not. For those of you who have, when we talk about that settling in practice, and we talk about the moment of landing in the body and tuning in to the sensations of the body, right? Bringing it out of the mind and coming into the body and coming back to the sensations. What's true for me in my body right now is tightness in my chest, pulsing in my fingers, a knot in my stomach, right? And staying there, staying with the sensation. That is how you stop yourself from burying and how you stop yourself from exploding. Is by bringing it to the physical sensations in the body. So the minute that you start to feel yourself triggered and activated, right? And you know what that feels like. You know when it's coming. Something happens in you. You know it's there. You've got to pause. You've got to pause and you've got to come back to the body. A little sort of cheat for how to do that. Find your 4 anchor points. Again, some of you heard me say this just today, actually. Find your 4 anchor points. Feet on the earth, crown rising to sky. Tailbone is your root, anchoring you. Chest and belly, hands on your chest and belly, that's your center. Feet, crown, root, center. Go there. Go to those 4 points on your body. In the middle of everything. I don't care what the kids are doing. I don't care what's happening around you. Go there. Feet, crown, root, center. Bring all your awareness to those 4 points in the physical body. Then tune in a little bit deeper. What's true for me in my body right now? What are the sensations? Tightness here, tingling here, pulsing here. Stay there. Keep your awareness there on those sensations. Just watch the sensations. You're doing nothing else but watching them. It's just energy pooling there. Watch them. While you're, again, feet, crown, root, center. Watch those sensations. Once you get out of the way, the energy can start to flow again. So there's where you're not burying. And now you're not going to explode because you're going to be in flow. And then finally, the last step is that, oh, Christy just got off. I was going to say, we were talking about this today. Last step of that is then you make a decision about what you might need to do, explore solutions. What do I need to do in that moment? Do I need to leave the room? Do I need to go get a drink of water? Do I need to calm down a screaming kid? You know, do I need to say something to my significant other? Do I need to talk to my child? Do I need to call this person back? Whatever it is, right? What do I need to do? So there's no burying and then there's no exploding, because at that point, and I don't want to go too far into this right now, but at that point, when you've done that practice, when you've come back to the body, use those 4 points to come back to the body. Use them as your anchor points. When you come back to the body and you allow the energy to move through you, what that's doing is it's giving your nervous system time to either come out of flight or fight, or to not even go there in the first place. Depends where you're at, depends how far gone you are, right? Brings you out of flight or fight. Once you're out of flight or fight, your wise, rational minds can engage. And then you'll know what to do. Oh, maybe it's no big deal, I can let this go. Or no, you know what, this is a big deal and I need to talk to this person about it. But you're not exploding, you're not screaming, you're not throwing things. There's no reactivity. Because in that moment, you're not in flight or fight. Your system doesn't think you're in danger. Your system feels you're safe. Without that safety, you're either going to bury or explode, because you've learned one of 2 ways, right? There's those 2 ways that we've learned since childhood. Either I bury what's uncomfortable or I fucking lash out, right? I implode or I explode. It's that simple, right? So we only know this either or. Those are the 2 extremes. One of you used that expression before, right? Going to the extremes. We have to find that middle way. We were never taught. Most of us were never taught that middle way. Most of us learned either imploding or exploding, or some combination of the 2. So we find that middle ground where nothing is buried, everything is there. What's true for me right now is. That's honoring the truth of what's right here, right now. So you're not burying it. And then you're sitting with it and allowing the energy to move through you. You're not denying it. You're not running away. You're not doing a meditation. You're not doing fancy breath. You're not doing a yoga asana. You're not running to a different realm. You're not visualizing kangaroos. You're just staying here. I know, Maria, you laugh when I say that. But, right? We're just here with it all. We're allowing it all to be. The energy then starts to move through us. Flight or fight turns off. System restores itself to safety. Now you can handle whatever needs to be handled. That's how you find the balance between the burying and the exploding. And it is a practice. It is a practice. Every day it's practicing doing this. Come back to my body. Come back to my body. Those 4 points. Practice that throughout the day. Feet on the earth, crown rising to sky, rooting. So happy you're doing these again. Rooting through your tailbone, finding your center. Right? Start there. Practice that throughout the day. Set alarms on your phone. Call it something. Oh, let me pause and do this. The more training that you do, the better. And then in the times when you're triggered, that's where you start. Tune deeper into the body. What's true for me in my body right now is, what are the sensations that I'm noticing in my body right now? Go there, watch them, just watch them. We don't have to know, gee, why is it there? Why am I triggered? Why am I feeling tightness in my chest? Why was I having that thought? No more why. We let go of that and just be with the sensation. We don't have to know why. Why keeps us in our head. Right? So stop asking why. Why? Again, this is part of this culture now, this therapized culture. Analyze every feeling, analyze every trigger. No, you do not have to do that. That will keep you in the trigger. that will keep you tethered to it energetically also. And again, your brain doesn't know time. Your system has no sense of time. So, gee, why did I feel that way? Oh, it must have been something that happened when I was 5 years old. Oh, this is because my mother did this to me when I was 10. Oh, I'm having this trigger because as you're rehashing all this in your mind, your system thinks it's happening to you right now. So you just keep staying triggered. You just keep staying in the trauma. Nothing gets released. Stop asking why. Just be with it. Be with the energy of it in the body. That's all you have to do. Anything else before we wrap up? I'm conscious of time, and I know we went over. I know we started a little bit late, but I want to be respectful of time. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No. Oh, wait. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. No, I really hope this was helpful. We're gonna, every week, different topic, but a lot of what I talked about tonight is kind of the foundation. So these things will keep coming up again. Next week, I think we're going to dive more into detoxification, although I don't know, it may change when we're in it, but a lot of this will come back up again. Because this is the foundation. If we don't, and when I say master, I was about to say, well, if we master this, again, it's not about perfection, but it's about knowing what to do when the shit hits the fan, so to say, and not feeling like, I'm floating away without a life preserver. No, you have an inner anchor. It lives within you. That practice that I just went through, I know I went through it quickly, but most of you left on the call. You've worked with me, so you've heard me teach this to you in person. But this idea, and I use the acronym of love, land, observe and orient, verify and validate, and explore solutions. Okay, that practice of go to the body, find your 4 points, tune in deeper, what's true for me and my body, stay there and watch the energy start to move, then explore solutions. That practice right there, by the way, that is a somatic experiencing practice combined with a bioenergetic practice. This is all bioquantum stuff. You don't need to sit in front of a light for 6 hours. You have this in you. You don't need the fancy tools. You don't need any pills to do this. This is in you already. So knowing that you have this tool already in you, you just have to practice using it, right? It's like, I know there's a bicep under here. I just got to use it. I just got to move it to see it, right? If I don't use it, it's not there. You have this in you. Make it a practice every day. Remember, you don't need anything fancy, right? Antoinette, I'm going to call you out again on this, that starting from the bottom. We're all, in a sense, starting from the bottom, but you don't need anything fancy. You don't need the classes. You don't need all the things, right? You're so welcome, Maria. So it's just a matter of practicing, coming back to some basic root essence of who you are and putting that into practice every day. Checking in with yourself in every moment of the day. Where am I at in body? Where am I at in mind? Where am I at in spirit? Every moment of every day. Right? So I'm going to wrap up on that note. I hope this was helpful for all of you. If you're going to watch this on a recording, you can get in touch with me if you have any questions. For those of you who are live with me, thank you so much for showing up and prioritizing your health and wellness. Reach out to me at any time if you have questions or concerns or comments. I would be happy to connect with you. I'm sending you all so much love. And remember, Rewilding Wellness is about reclaiming the potent self-healer that you already are. You have everything you need right within yourself. I'm just here to help you remember that. Lots of love to all of you. Have a great, great night.